So in this video, I'm going to rank my lenses. I'm going to look at the most popular one, the one I use the most. I'm going to look at my favourite one, the one that I like getting out of my bag the most, the sharpest lens, the lightest lens. I'm going to look at all the data over the last 2 years, and I'm going to try and explain why I use which lenses. Thanks to MPB for sponsoring this week's video. Morning everyone, fantastic to see you all again. So in this video, I am going to explain my lenses and which lenses I use, and we're going to look at some different categories. First of all, I'm going to look at the most popular lens. So the lens that I get out of the bag the most and creates the most number of images. So what I've done here is I've got open Lightroom and I've selected all my cameras for the last 2 years, and these are all my picked photos. So you can see that there is about 5,700 picked photos, quite a lot, and they're ones that I think need editing. So you can see on the lenses on the right hand side here that my most used lens is the 24 to 120 lens, which is this one here. And this is an S lens, and it is fantastic. If I have a look at some of the images that I've taken with this amazing lens, woodlands with it. I used to take a lot of woodlands with my 24 to 70, and we're going to get onto that in a minute because that features in one of the other categories. But the 24 to 120 is the lens that I take the most shots with. And we can actually narrow this down a little bit, and I can just say, okay, I only want 3-star images. And you can see again, by almost double, I take more 3-star images with this 24 to 120 than any other lens. You can see that in Antarctica, I got some fantastic images here of the penguins. I take a lot of sort of medium focal length landscapes. I got this, which is one of my favorite images in the last couple of years, penguin ice boat. And I've taken a lot of really good images with this. And I feel like this lens is good because it's pretty good across all the focal lengths. I can trust it. It's an S lens in any weather. It's not that heavy, to be honest. It's a pretty light lens, and that 24 to 120 range is just such a usable range for landscape photography. So it works really, really well. But that's my most used lens. What about the sharpest lens? What about the lens that I think out of all these lenses, and I've got a lot of different ones, let's just go through some of them. So I've got the 70 to 200. I'm super lucky, obviously being a Nikon ambassador, I get access to quite a lot of lenses. But the 70 to 200 doesn't feature that much. So if we look at that, in the last 2 years, how many 3-star photos have I taken with that? I don't think I've taken that many at all. 12. Because, and this is super sharp, this would be up there as my most sharpest lenses, to be honest. This is such an amazing lens for sharpness. But I lose a little bit of sharpness with the 100 to 400, but they're about the same weight. So I might as well have that extra reach. I don't really lose anything by losing that 70 to 100 because I've got my 24 to 120 with me. And I really, really rate this 100 to 400 millimeter lens. And it's quite amazing. If we look at some of the stats, so if we just look at this 100 to 400, we'll get back to the sharpest lens in a second. If we look at this 100 to 400, you can see that I've taken 500 shots with it. A lot of those were in Antarctica, so we'll just skip over some of those. But some of my favorite images have been taken with this lens. Some of the wave shots that I take, I use it for wave shots all the time. In Madeira, worked really well with this lens. I obviously take birds with this lens, which is really, really good. But like when I was in Greenland, I used it all the time just to pick out details of icebergs. And it was just a fantastic lens to be able to use. Going back to my sharpest lens, I think the sharpest lens that I've got is definitely, we'll find it, it's here, the 24 to 70 lens. So this is an f2.8 lens. This used to be my go-to lens for woodland photography. But to be honest, I'd like that extra reach of the 24 to 70, but this is definitely the sharpest. If I look at my favorite images, so I've just got my favorite images from the last couple of years. I've just created a collection here in Lightroom. And we just go and have a look. Press G on Lightroom to go to this view, by the way, where you can just filter things. you can see that with the 24-70, I've only taken 4 shots, which are actually, these are my 5-star images, or 3 to 5 stars, but mostly 5-star images. And 3 of them were taken at the same time. Obviously I took this amazing shot in Antarctica, but I don't know whether I really needed that extra sharpness, and I never use it wide open. But that is my sharpest lens. And then my other sharp lens, which is fantastic, is my 14-24. Now this is different because I feel like this offers a lot over the 14-30mm lens. So if you're choosing a wide angle lens, I feel like these two, it's a more difficult choice. And again, if we go back to my favorite shots, you can see that an equal number of shots have been taken with the 14-24 and the 14-30, which is this one. I tend to, if I'm hiking a long way, and we'll get on to flexibility in a minute, but if I'm hiking a long way, this 14-30 is brilliant because I don't have to take big filters with it. It's light and it's pretty sharp, but it's not anywhere near as sharp as this. The loss in sharpness between this and this is a lot greater than the loss in sharpness between my 24-70 and my 24-120. So yeah, I do like this 14-24, and if I'm not traveling a long way, if I'm not carrying a lot of stuff, then I will put this in my bag because I think it's pretty cool lens. It's just lovely to use. But you can see with my 14-30, then, you know, a lot of these, this was when I was hiking with Mass and James when I had a bad back and I just had my operation in Wales, so I wanted to lighten my bag. But having that wide angle, that extra wide angle, is really important. So I always take one of these 2 lenses depending on how far I'm going. But what about flexibility? So if I'm looking for the most flexible approach of all these, you know, if I'm looking for something that gives me flexibility but also I can hike, then I'm probably going to go with my 24-200mm lens and my 14-30 lens. These 2 get me 14-200mm, and they're super light together. I think together they're probably just over a kilogram, so don't weigh that much, and I can take that with my Z7 II body. But this 24-200, you've got to be a little bit careful with it. At 200mm, it's not super sharp. And you do lose some quality with this, especially around the edges at 200mm. But at sort of between 35 and sort of 70mm, I feel like this is a really good lens. And the thing you've got to remember is that these Z lenses, these mirrorless lenses, are such a step up from the F lenses of old. You know, lens technology has improved so much, so you get so much more bang for your buck, I suppose, with these new mirrorless lenses. So if you just have a look at some of the shots I've taken with this, my 24-200, then I have taken, like recently, in last week's video, I took this shot with my 24-200. Again in Wales, I took this shot. This was probably around about 54mm, I think. But these images, as you can see, are super good. This was at 54mm, and it is sharp. It's a good lens. You're not really going to compromise that much, and I feel like that flexibility of the 24-200 is fantastic. So if I'm hiking a long way, these are the 2 lenses that I take with me. What about my most loved lens? What about the lens that I love the most? Well, if I was to have one lens out of all these, you're probably going to guess this, it's probably fairly obvious. Poor little 24-70 f4 is not doing very well, is it? And that used to be one of my most loved lenses, but that's been replaced by the 24-120. Obviously, this is the one I took the most shots with. The reason is because I just love it. I just think it's a fantastic lens. I absolutely love this lens. If you look at some of my shots taken with this, I've taken 25 out of 70 shots with this lens. And it's you know, so in Luskentire, I got an amazing set of shots with this. You know, it's just good in all conditions. This was taken in some amazing hoarfrost. For woodlands now, this is, you know, the lens that I use most often, and I find it's just more than acceptable. It really is a spectacular lens, that, and definitely the one that I would pick up most. I don't think there's any, I said I was going to rank these from best to worst. It's difficult to do that, but I think that if I'm going to do it, I probably should do it now. Then I would say that the 20. Oh, it's so hard this. I'd say they're probably 70 to 200. Obviously, it's not the worst, but it's one I use the least. Then maybe the 24 to 70. Then maybe the 24 to 70 f4. Then probably the, this is hard, the 14 to 30 f4. Then the 14 to 24 f2.8. This is hard. Then the 24 to 200. No. Then the 100 to 400. Then the 24 to 120. Is that right? And then the 24 to 120 at the end. This is the 24 to 200. Right. I think that's it. So 24 120, 24 200, 100 400, 14 24, 14 30, 24 70 f4, 24 70 f2.8, 70 200. Best to worst. Obviously, it's not best to worst. They're all amazing lenses, but you understand what I mean. So I hope you've enjoyed that. It was quite a quick video to get one out just at the end of the year. A little bit of fun, really. But I do enjoy using all these lenses, and I love photography. I've just been looking back at some of my photos, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a video in a few weeks. But it just brings back so many memories. And I want to say thanks to everybody for the last few years, because I'm nearly at 500,000 subscribers, which blows my mind. And I've got a present for anybody that's a subscriber. Well, I say it's a present, it's not for everybody, but I'm going to give away this Z8. This is going to be given away to a subscriber when I get to 500 subscribers. If you're not subscribed already, then please subscribe. There's a subscribe button somewhere down there. It makes a big difference to me and my channel. And if you're looking to find lenses like this, then you don't have to get new lenses. MPB, who are a sponsor of this week's video, are a fantastic resource for finding used equipment. They're a platform where you can go on and find used equipment, or even sell your used equipment to maybe fund another purchase. And if you're looking for a 24 to 70 f4 or a 24 to 120, you can go on there and search, and you'll definitely get something that's got a 6-month warranty. So the used equipment comes with a 6-month warranty, which is amazing, and you'll get a discount over a new lens. So lenses don't degrade that much, so always consider a used lens. I've always bought used lenses. I just think there's no point buying new lenses. And you get that discount, and they also hold the value as well. So you get that little bit of discount from new, and then they hold the value, and you can resell them on a platform like MPB. Anyway, there's a link to MPB in the description below. Go and check it out if you've got a lens to sell or you're looking to buy a new lens. Well, that's it. Thanks everybody for 2023. I've had some amazing memories. It's been a bit of a journey for me with getting my back better, but I think I'm on the road to improvement. I've got an amazing new project for 2024. I'm going to be building a camper van. More about that in a few weeks. I'm going to talk a bit more detail about it, but I'm going to do something really, really special. So I can't wait to share that with you. Thanks ever so much. Happy New Year. And until next Sunday, bye.
You can ask spring how it is when the buds are bursting. You can watch the birds when they fly across the world. Weights can't lift you up. You can find a way to drop them. When the new ones weigh you down, you'll be on top of them. Oh, don't mind the falls. Break down when it burns. It has to hurt. Every single turn